friends. Hello, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Hello. So today I'm repping my good friend Abby's merch, and also this video is a collaboration. I'm doing a collaboration with my good friend Tolly here on YouTube. I will have her channel linked down below. I really love her channel and I love the direction that she is taking, recently especially. She did one video a while back that was like a Marilyn Monroe inspired tutorial that I thought was just so good, and I just feel like Cotton is one of those people who is genuinely so kind and truly like a good friend to have on YouTube. She always has my back. She's always checking in on me, just making sure I'm okay, and the same goes for her. I think she's a really, really beautiful person with a really good heart, and yeah, I really love her. I was excited when she asked to do this again because we actually did this same exact video last year. We did Copped But Should Have Dropped, and it went really, really well. So I think we both thought it would be fun to kind of do this spin on this series again. It's basically just like products we shouldn't have bought, but I think Copped But Should Have Dropped is just such a good name. So we're doing this again and I'm really excited. So today I'm gonna show you guys products that I copped but I should have dropped. Okay, I'll stop, thank you. I guess we'll start with this. I bought this a few weeks ago. It is the Urban Decay The Velvetizer. I actually got this at TJ Maxx, which I think is your first warning that maybe you shouldn't be buying this. I bought this because, number one, it was only $10 at TJ Maxx, which I thought was a great deal because normally it's like $30. There is a YouTuber called Andrea, who I love, who loved this and thinks it's like so good. But so when I saw this, I was like, oh, Andrea really liked that, let me grab it. I don't want to put any pressure on her to be like, oh, she steered me wrong, because I'm sure this works great for her. It just doesn't work for me. I also feel like if this had not been in front of me, I feel like this is kind of the danger of places like TJ Maxx and Marshall's having really affordable makeup. It's a double-edged sword, because I think it's a good thing because people who want higher end makeup at a lower price can get it. I think it's a bad thing because I really would never have bought this if I didn't stumble upon it for a bargain at TJ Maxx. This is not a product that would have ever need to come into my life or come home with me. And if I had seen this at Sephora, I would have walked right past it, like I do with most Urban Decay products. I think reflecting now, I haven't really bought an Urban Decay product in years. So this didn't really work out for me. I don't think it's necessarily a bad powder. I know it's supposed to be used as like a mixing medium, but the way Andrea used it was like under her eyes, and that doesn't work for me. So maybe I'll try it as a mixing medium just to try to get some use out of it, or maybe I'll give it to one of my friends. But this was definitely something that I should have just left at TJ Maxx because I had really no business buying this in the first place. Like, let's be honest here. Not only am I mad I bought this bronzer because very shortly after Too Faced Cosmetics exposed themselves, this is the Too Faced Gingerbread Tan Spicy Bronzer. It used to have a little gingerbread man on it. Looks like this. This is not necessarily a horrible bronzer. It's like okay. I feel like it's like most Too Faced products, which is like fine. I'm not gonna like hate this. I'm not gonna smash it and never use it, but it's definitely not like a favorite go-to bronzer for me. This, however, for me symbolizes so much more. The only way that you could buy this little gingerbread bronzer was to buy it in a set. I am so against, and I don't know why my morals like dropped for this bronzer. Like I saw it and I just thought the little gingerbread, it came with like a little gingerbread bag, like a gingerbread man makeup bag and a gingerbread lipstick, and I think I justified it by being like, oh, I'll use those. I don't. And I don't really use this bronzer either. Not because it's like horrible or anything, but it's just not something that I'm like obsessed with. I think the appeal of it to me was honestly that it was like in this set. Like I think I thought it was adorable. I think I got caught up in the Christmas hype, which I always tell you guys and myself to never do. But I had like a gift card to Sephora, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy this thing. And again, like I said, it does smell kind of like gingerbread. Oh, the little white pieces of the gingerbread man came off after like 2 uses. So now it's just a weirdly shaped man. That's a little weird now that I'm really looking at it. But yeah, so this one, I think honestly, I didn't need this in my life. I didn't need this in my collection, and I definitely did not need it enough to pay $39 to get the entire set that came with this. I think that's what kills me about this. It's not even just that I wasted my money, like 20 bucks on a bronzer. This was like $40 technically because all I used from that stupid set I bought is this. I'm pretty sure I gave away the gingerbread man bag to Charles's little sister, and I'm pretty sure I decluttered the lipstick. So I paid I bought this like 2 months ago. So this was definitely a mistake for me. I should have never paid that much money just to get a single thing from a set. That's something I'm trying to really work on, is like, don't buy the set if you don't like everything, or if you can't like share it, because it's just not worth it. That kind of brings me into this next one. So these are the Safiya Nygaard and ColourPop lipsticks, and I bet you didn't even know I had these because I haven't really talked about about them. I did buy the entire collection, and I know you're like, where are the other two? When my friend Lacey was up visiting me, I was showing her these and she was like, oh, I wanted these two shades. And coincidentally, those were the two shades that I was absolutely never gonna use from this collection. So I gave them to her and I was like, here you go. So I still have all of the more like kind of neutrally plum shades. Here's the thing about these, and this is kind of like a warning, I think. And I think it's almost kind of ironic that I'm saying this as I have my own collab, but I stand by this even with like my collab. I don't think you should buy things just because you want to support a person. Looking back on this purchase, and I know this for a fact actually is what I did. I bought this because I wanted to support Sophia because I really, really love her content. I love her channel. I love what she's doing on YouTube. Like, I think she's amazing and I wanted to support her. So I felt like by buying these lipsticks, I would be supporting her. But the reality of the situation is I don't really wear bullet lipsticks that much. And also ColourPop's formula in particular is not my favorite. So even when I do wear the bullet lipsticks, ColourPops are not the ones I gravitate towards. And while these are pretty colors that I will probably get use out of, which is nice, I think at the end of the day, the whole collection was like $50. And had I not given Lacey those two lipsticks, those would have just sat there like forever. And at least I probably will get some decent use out of these. I have already used like Bikini Bottom, so I know that I'll use them, but I think it's an important reminder to separate the fact that you can support someone by watching their content. By you watching their content, you're supporting them. You don't have to monetarily give a creator something to show support for them. I think just being a supporter is enough. And I think I kind of like got so, because I love her. So I got a little caught up in the hype of being like, I want to support Sophia. She's like one of my favorite creators. Like, I would love to support her. And then I ended up buying these to support her when she didn't actually need me to do that because it's sold out anyway. And it would have with or without me purchasing this. I believe it sold out like 3 times. So she didn't need me to buy these, I think is the moral of the story. So I probably should have dropped these because they weren't like a necessity to my collection and probably not a makeup item that I'm going to get the most use out of. All right, so, So this is the Natasha Denona Bloom and Glow blush palette. The Bloom Blush and Glow palette. This I bought for myself as a birthday gift last year. We're coming up on a year of me owning this, and I have to say this was a waste of money. And I'll actually just throw this in now too, because this was also a waste of money. So I bought the Natasha Denona Sculpt and Glow. I don't remember when, but it was on sale. It was a while ago. It was on sale for like $50. Normally it's $90, which is absurd. Even though $50 is still so much money, for some reason compared to $90, you're like, oh my God, what a steal. And so I did pick this up because it was something that I had been interested, I'm gonna try not to blind you guys, was something I'd been interested in for a while. I think the big thing that, again, I need to work on with shopping kind of goes along similar themes that I've already talked about, but I don't really like these types of cream products. Like, I am getting more into cream products now, which is good, but at the time that I bought these, I was not into cream products, and the whole half of this palette was really never going to get used for me. I do definitely use these powders, especially in this palette. I use the powders in this palette too. Like, I think the highlighter and the blush in this are also very pretty. I'm not utilizing half of the palette, and for maybe something that was a little bit less expensive, that could be a little bit more justified. Honestly, no though, because it just seems silly to have a palette where I'm only using half of it. For the price that this cost me, I could have just bought another powder highlighter from Natasha Denona that I would have worn a lot more. For the price of this, I could have bought one of her sculpting powders and just used that, which is really what I wanted from this anyway. I think the idea of face palettes is a good one. Like, I do think it's cool to have everything in kind of a concise location. I like the idea of face palettes, but I think face palettes like this, where it's like half cream, half powder, or even ones, I guess we'll just segue into this. So many segues, but these 3 are like very similar reasons why I should have dropped them. This is the NARS Board to Plug palette. I bought this for myself for my birthday 2 years ago. So we're coming up on 2 years with this bad boy. And here's the thing, I love the highlighters in this. That's why I don't want to get rid of it, because I adore the highlighters. I think they're beautiful, but I don't use the highlighters with like the bronzers. So these bronzers, these 2 bronzers never get used. They always are going to go to waste, because when I'm thinking, oh, I want to reach for a bronzer, I'm not thinking, let me reach for the 2 grossly skinny pans that I can't fit my brush into to apply my bronzer. I'm thinking, no, if I want a cool highlighter, I'll reach for it for the highlighters. And it's the same thing with this. If I want like a sculpting powder or I want a highlighter, I'll reach for these products. When you're buying face palettes, I think you have to buy ones that make sense for you and how you do your makeup. That's something I haven't learned until like recently. I feel like I very recently was like, I'm buying face palettes that don't go well together for me. Like bronzer and highlighter face palettes don't make sense for me. I really like face palettes that are all highlighters, all blushes, all bronzers. And I even don't mind like blush and highlighter because those are two steps that I do together, so it makes sense. I think you have to look at how, this seems crazy, but I almost think you have to look at how you personally do your makeup, how your routine is set up, and what is gonna be a convenient thing for you to grab. What is gonna be something that makes sense for you to grab together or separate? Like what are those things? And then pick face palettes particularly accordingly to that. Because I think face palettes are kind of the thing in my collection that get neglected the most. And it's because I didn't think about how I did my makeup or how I would organically reach for things before purchasing these. I really don't regret buying this one because I do love those highlighters. I regret it because I wasted those bronzers basically. These two I just regret buying in general because I don't use enough of it to justify the price, but so. This is the Carly by Belle palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I did buy this. What happened was I went into Sephora and I swatched it, and I am a sucker. Me to ABH glitters. I'm a sucker for you. Like I am such a sucker for Anastasia Beverly Hills glitters, and I swatch these glitters and they're beautiful, like such a pretty formula. And honestly, it's a good palette, but again, I think it's one of those palettes that I just should have not gotten in the first place, because while the shimmers are beautiful, I do have, none of these shimmers are particularly unique except for My Angels, which is the one I'm never going to use if I'm being honest with myself. So while the shimmers are pretty and while it's a nice sort of like neutral palette, I'm not probably going to get the most use out of this. I do think I wanted to support the Jackie and Carly launches just because at the time, this is gonna sound weird, but because of the launches of the Norvina collection, it felt like this was like the underdog palette. And I think because I keep up on all of that stuff and this is probably not a problem that like casual makeup lovers have, but I think it's almost like picking the sports team that's like less likely to win the Super Bowl. Like I just felt like this palette also deserved some hype and some love because it wasn't getting any because so many Norvina palettes were getting released. So I do feel like that was a dumb reason to buy this, but also I will use it. Like I know I will. It's a nice formula. The shimmers are really pretty and it is a nice neutral palette. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, didn't need it. We're really just talking about my bad purchasing choices like right now. This is a palette that I just am mad about. So this is the Stila palette. It's the Happy Hour eyeshadow palette and it looks like this. The reason I'm mad about this palette is because I love the shimmers. The shimmers in this palette are unfreaking real. Like they're so glittery and purple and foiled and beautiful. But these four mattes, the quad right here that would make it like a very usable palette, absolutely suck. And I wish that when swatching it, I had taken those mattes into account. Like I thought the mattes were okay. I didn't think they were that bad. But then I used them a few more times and they are bad. They don't blend. They're so patchy. And I keep this palette because these shimmers are so unreal, but realistically how I do my makeup is I like to either have one palette or I'll do like a palette and a glitter topper. Like I'll use my Kaja bento boxes or my Stila glitters. That's kind of how I like to do my makeup. I very rarely, and I know this about myself, I feel like 2020 has lately been a year of like introspecting how my makeup routine affects the way that I choose makeup. I don't know if other people feel that way too, of like how they actually put their makeup on, like what order they do that in, how that affects what they might reach for. Maybe it's just a me thing, I don't know, but I feel like for me, I don't really reach for another palette to put on a glitter topper unless it's something small like a trio or a quad or a glitter. So I think in general, just because the mattes kind of suck, and also because this was really expensive, it was like, I believe like $52. I bought it last summer and I wish I could just get more use out of it, but that's just not the way I operate with eyeshadow palettes. So this one was definitely a should have dropped. Should not have bought this in the first place. Wish I had known that the mattes were gonna be so crappy. I wonder if I could depot these. They do not look like they would be easy to depot because it's like very like hard. Do you hear that? It's like heavy. I don't know how easy this would be to depot from, but maybe I'll ask my friend Georgia because she does a lot of depotting and she's very good at it. So maybe I'll see if she knows because I don't. These are this is my final thing. These are you can see it's a lot of eyeshadow palettes. I think I do have, now that I'm like doing this video, I'm looking back and I'm like, maybe I buy too many eyeshadow palettes, I think. And I think the reason for that, number one, is I do Talktorial Tuesdays, so I'm always buying new stuff like for that purpose. But I think two, I just get so excited about eyeshadow palettes. They're like the thing in makeup I love the absolute most. But I think it would definitely be a benefit for me to start being a little bit more critical about the eyeshadow palettes I bring in. Because I'm looking at this and a lot of them are eyeshadow palettes. A lot of them are like palettes that I kind of regret purchasing. So I regret buying these. I think I'm just over big palettes, and I think I didn't really know that until I got these two. So this is the Norvina Volume 1, and then we have the Volume 3. Formula on this is very different from the normal ABH formula, which I did not know when buying the first one particularly. And then this one I bought just because I absolutely love the color story. I still love the color story, but the formula, it's not bad. It's just not up to par, I feel. Both of these palettes are also huge with kind of confusing color stories that makes them a little bit difficult to use, a little intimidating to use, honestly. I think if you're like pro MUA Instagrammer, these would be like a dream because they're so fun and like you could create tons of crazy creative looks with your crazy creative brain, but my brain does not work like that. And so for me, these are a little too big, a little too cluttered, a little too jumbled, and while they have pretty colors, I feel like I don't even know where to start with using them. I think I'm gonna start keeping these on my desk so I see them a little bit more, because they're so big, they're at the bottom drawer of my desk, and I feel like I just don't see them, so I don't use them. I'm a very visual person when it comes to makeup, so we'll see about these, but yeah. Should have dropped them. All right, friends. Well, that is going to be it from me. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below, along with a link to register to vote. That's right. You can click on that link. You can register to vote, and you can be part of your democracy. And if you're not from the United States, that link does not apply to you. Please make sure you're staying informed on what's going on. Use your voice in a positive way, because the world absolutely needs more of that. Please go subscribe to my friend Cotton. I think this was a fantastic idea, and I'm happy to be doing this collab with her. I love you guys so much. Let me know what you've copped but should have dropped in your lives. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!